to go through sort of a series of projects of how we've sort of been approaching these ideas from various ways. One of them is this sort of notion of architectural alchemy, how you can actually create, if not gold, then at least added value by mixing traditional ingredients. We did a project in Copenhagen that combines an apartment building and a parking structure, transforming the parking into this sort of diagonal public space, connecting all the different levels of the parking. A single diagonal elevator connects all the different levels. And the facade is this sort of a naturally ventilated facade, making the parking sort of independent of ventilation. Sort of a similar system as in Shanghai. In this case, the holes have different sizes that are based on the input of a giant rasterized image. Sort of transforming the entire sort of urban facade of the building into a giant urban artwork, practically for free. And inside the apartments, you have like these south-facing houses with gardens. Sort of the life of the apartment sort of extends outside, so you sort of combine all the splendors of a suburban lifestyle, a house with the gardens where your kids can run and play, but in a sort of dense urban location and with a penthouse view. And all the rainwater that drops on the mountain is collected so that in dry periods you can say sort of transform the entire mountain into the sort of Cambodian temple ruin completely covered in green. This sort of idea of trying to sort of create qualities by mixing different ingredients, we took one step further in a project called the Aid House in Copenhagen, in this complete new town. It's part of this new sort of urban neighborhood. Unfortunately, we started construction right at the sort of collapse of the Danish real estate market and the global financial crisis. So the people living there really have an excellent view in all directions. But the basic idea is to sort of create diversity by looking at the different needs of the different programs. So shops and offices like to be close to the customers, so we put them on the ground. Apartments go on top, but because residential space is less deep than commercial space, we get space for a little garden, some more apartments, and then sort of penthouse row houses with front lawns and roof gardens. The master plan dictates a passage through the building. Also, then we start looking at the fact that shops and offices, they spend energy on cooling. They like daylight, but they don't like sunshine. So to the sort of south, we push them down to the ground, and to the north, we lift them up in the sun and the view. And in reverse, in the southwest corner, we sort of pull the corner down, opening up the entire courtyard for sunshine and views over the landscape, creating this sort of distorted building block, where actually the public space that it's sort of traditionally restricted to occurring on the street level is actually, in this case, sort of invited to invade the building. It's at the city limits of Copenhagen, so you really have this sort of clash of different life forms. But you can say what happens as a side effect, not only can we sort of optimize the individual conditions of the different programs like the townhouses, the apartments, lifting them up in the sun, leaving the ground floor for the commercial spaces, but also we invite the possibility for spontaneous social encounters, or the creation of a community, a neighborhood, is actually invited to invade the three-dimensional space of the urban block. And the Aid House is, rather than being a beautiful facade or like an exciting three-dimensional object, it's more like a three-dimensional urban condition where people really sort of get to know each other spontaneously. This idea was made for the inhabitants so that people living there could run over and play with their neighbors. But because Copenhagen is completely flat as a pancake, what has happened is that on weekends, people actually go here to go for a walk with a girlfriend and enjoy the view. Because you have no views in Denmark, it's completely flat. And this suddenly creates a place out of something that is really currently in the middle of nowhere. The general sort of philosophy, and you have this sort of view over the sort of African savanna of Copenhagen, complete with wildebeest. And the general idea is that this sort of idea of synergy, that the facades of the offices become the handrails of the apartments, the actual handrail becomes the lighting. So it's this sort of complete collaboration between the different programs in the building.